Hi, so I have a few minutes before my next client comes in, so I wanted to just tell you about a really cool story about synchronicity. So when I was 7.5 months pregnant, I came to Colorado 2.5 years ago, and we did not have a place to live. And so at 7.5 months pregnant, I was pretty much panicking, especially since the market in Colorado was crazy. Like, houses were going left and right, and as at the top of the market, sometimes over, and they were just flying. Like, if they were listed that day, they went out. If sometimes they were, people just like were talking underground about open places. So we were feeling pretty bleak in terms of finding a house before I gave birth. So what I did was I sat down and I meditated. We had visited 25 houses, and none of them seemed like they were going to work out because they needed a lot of construction, and we only had 2 months before the baby was going to arrive. So we kept looking and looking and looking and looking, and then finally I was like, I think I'm going to lose my mind. Like, I'm 7.5 months pregnant. We don't have a place to live. And so I checked in. I checked in with Spirit, and I said, what's going on here? And the feeling that I got was the house that you're going to find is going to be so amazing and so perfect for you that you're going to walk in and you're going to know that it's your house. And I didn't even believe it, like, because the feeling was so overwhelming, and it was like, but that's not how it's been the last few weeks, And I went even in and told my partner, because she knew how much I was stressing, and I said, we're going to find it. We're going to find the perfect house. And so I think maybe like a day or two later, we actually did find our house. And the exact feeling that I had was true. We found the house because I insisted that we go to this certain coffee shop and just go visit this one particular house after the coffee shop. And This particular house was not the right house, but I said, you know what, let's drive around this neighborhood. Maybe there's a house that's for sale. Well, we drove up the hill, and we couldn't find any other houses that were for sale, except for there was a dog that was running around the neighborhood, and I was concerned. So I jumped out, 7 months pregnant, or almost 8 months pregnant at that time, and looked at the tag and called the number. And they happened to live on the corner of where we were, so it wasn't too far. And so the lady came out, and so we said, are there any houses for sale in this area? And she goes, well, the sales office is just right there. So it was 2 houses up. And so Fennell and I drove up, and that's my partner. Fennell and I drove up, and I looked at the house, and it said for sale. And I was like, she said this was a sales house, right? And so we called the number, and sure enough, the house had been listed that morning, and we got access to it, put our bid in, and we found the house. And then every single day, we wake up and we're like, this house is amazing. We love living here. We love our neighborhood. We love this part of the country. We love our views. Like, we love everything about the house. So that is just a particular story of, listening to my intuition and it playing out, and just knowing that that we're always taken care of, even in our times where it seems like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. The fact that we found that house, by the way, is amazing, because after we found the house, I was like, okay, now I can go to the doctor. And then I went to the doctor, and I immediately got admitted to the hospital for preeclampsia, which I didn't know that I had. So it was pretty amazing, because otherwise, if we hadn't found it that day, then we never would have found it or been able to find a house before I gave birth. So anyway, that's the story. I hope you enjoyed it, and keep listening to your intuition, and don't give up. You're always supported by the universe. Bye.